Type a question into a chatbot, hit enter, and an answer appears almost instantly. The experience feels entirely digital, a weightless exchange of text floating somewhere in the cloud. In reality, that single interaction triggers a sequence of hardware commands inside a facility like this. This is the physical shape of artificial intelligence. For decades, software has scaled with a near-zero marginal cost. You write a program once, and 1 million people can use it without demanding new physical resources. But generative AI operates much more like heavy industry. A single generative AI training cluster consumes 7 to 8 times more power than a typical computing workload. Maintaining these response times requires an industrial expansion so large that NVIDIA's CEO calls it the biggest infrastructure project ever attempted, designed to extract and process physical resources at a global scale. The minimalist interface hides a resource-intensive machine directly responsible for localized water depletion, carbon spikes, and intense pressure on regional power grids. The physical footprint of AI is split into 2 phases. First is training, the highly publicized setup of a model. But the second phase, inference, the act of actually answering your daily prompts, accounts for up to 90% of a model's total lifecycle energy use. Generating one response from ChatGPT requires roughly 5 times more electricity than a standard Google search. When you apply that power draw to an estimated 700 million daily queries, the aggregate volume reaches a level that impacts entire national economies. This daily usage burns through enough electricity over the course of a year to power 35,000 residential homes. Utility companies are struggling to keep up. In 2025, 15 U.S. coal-fired power plants scheduled for retirement were forced to remain active, specifically to maintain grid stability for these data centers. All that electricity passing through densely packed chips generates extreme heat. To keep hardware from failing, data centers rely on massive evaporative water cooling systems. At the micro level, generating 10 to 50 prompts consumes a standard 500 milliliter bottle of fresh water. This comparison shows the macro-level impact. GPT-4o alone evaporates the equivalent of 500 Olympic swimming pools a year, often in regions already facing severe water scarcity. Every digital prompt physically burns fossil fuels and evaporates fresh water that cannot be recovered by the local ecosystem. Processing these models require highly specialized hardware, primarily graphics processing units, or GPUs. Fabricating these chips is a resource-intensive chemical process, requiring the mining of rare earth metals and the use of millions of gallons of ultra-pure water in high-tech cleanrooms. Because AI performance demands increase so quickly, these chips have a compressed lifespan. To remain competitive, enterprise data centers must strip out and replace their hardware every 2 to 5 years. This rapid hardware churn generates a massive stream of waste. At current rates, the industry is on track to produce up to 5 million metric tons of electronic waste globally by 2030. The footprint of AI extends beyond the electricity used for a query. It demands a continuous cycle of physical extraction, manufacturing, and disposal. This ranking of AI models by their efficiency scores represents the industry's primary defense. Companies are developing smaller models that require fewer resources per task. While individual prompts are becoming more efficient, that technical improvement triggers an economic trap known as the Jevons paradox. The Jevons paradox shows that as a technology becomes cheaper and more efficient to use, we use it exponentially more. This increased demand ultimately expands total resource consumption far beyond the original baseline. These systems can provide powerful tools, such as optimizing renewable energy grids, tracking industrial methane leaks, and predicting extreme weather events with high precision. However, the current infrastructure boom creates a decarbonization deficit. Right now, the physical cost of building and running these systems outpaces their climate-saving potential. The intelligence age represents a massive physical reorganization of the Earth's materials, shifting the cost of our digital lives back into the physical world. Before we fully integrate these systems, we have to demand infrastructure-level accountability for the resources they consume.